This is Deb Helfrich, hashtag RedheadedSheHulk, and I'm also the founder of hashtag Wellbeing Philosophy. I am here in the gorgeous, inspiring, and life-centric environment of the Carnegie Museum Sculpture Court. Let's do a nice little panorama. I think that sculpture represents a great deal about my life. I've not quite able to multitask and move the camera and talk at the same time. I've suffered from a toxic mold exposure, an environmental situation that any human in the US of hypocrisy can be faced with, as well as living for 52 years as the redhead in the coal mine of the human health effects of global warming. But beyond this small little bit of my bio that talks about what's wrong with me, there's the immensity of what's right with me. I have figured out how to live entranced for 2.5 years, just around when I turned 50, and it's a complex story. There's a lot of variables, but I created the recipe to learn how to endogenously shift into trance. Now, I did need a little cannabis to get started. I'd been morbidly obese my whole life, from infancy. I was born regular, 7.1 pound, but somewhere in that first year or so, I don't have the data. Everything I've ever known since I went to Montessori school at 2 was that I was the largest kid. By the time I hit my teen years, I was often the largest person in every room I was ever in. Then I turned 50, and with this great thing, cannabis, sound healing, ecstatic trance dancing, these are the foundational, the triangle, that instead of using diet, exercise, and willpower, none of which really works in the way that the experts insist it does for any human who's ever tried to use their advice, we are ignoring our biochemical bodies. And this is my life's work. To become the wise, feminine, she-Einstein of consciousness. Now, Esalen, I am literally destitute, at bedrock, and fearful for my life. I spent the past 5 months in the city of Pittsburgh at my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon, trying to become somebody who can bring life-centric thinking to every nook and cranny of the earth. I have an immensely crucial intellectual property that, because of the way capitalism works, I've not been able to get anyone to pay me to sort the hard problem of consciousness into an easy pivot, to talk about new definitions of chronic disease, mental illness, neurodivergency, that actually give us ways to go out and use science to understand being human fully. I have a unifying theory of human energy, potential, and well-being, body, mind, and soul integrated, based on the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity. Excellent. Shall we strategically collaborate to make your gorgeous environments the place where I come back to life? The ravages of homelessness have done me in. Although, basically, when I tell the story from the vantage point of having found belonging, having found a community, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to talk about this as a period of being a hunter and gatherer. I'm going to talk about this as a period of when I've learned to truly embrace that we all need a little survival in our life, and we all need to learn how to adapt and flow beyond this rigid framework of plantation capitalism, which is the root cause of all human misery. Industrialization, hyperdigitalization, there's lots of tentacles here. But at the root, the fact that capitalism linked with racism got spread across the entire globe just because a bunch of European monarchs needed more money and they had some sailing ships and weapons. There's a different way to tell the story of the last 500 years that ultimately, you know it right now, we are living through the evolution of consciousness, I am the one who will bridge the gap between the woo-woo and the typicals. What on earth are they even thinking? Like there's a typical brain. Brains as organs may be ever so slightly similar, but minds are by definition utterly unique. 7.8 billion of us across every nook and cranny of Earth. It's a philosopher's job to think universally and to try. Everything I say, I ask myself, does that apply to somebody in Botswana, Papua New Guinea, Argentina, Costa Rica, an Inuit, somebody who's a Maori? This globe is filled with people, all of whom are Africans who went on rowboat. I am utterly dedicated to creating a global symposium that employs philosophy to unite African, Eastern, and Western approaches to do-it-yourself healthcare. I'm also looking for a time to do a sabbatical to write the New York Times bestseller, Placebo Power to the People. Bioelectricity explains the placebo effect and teaches us how to make placebo tools. All of us. We don't need to go to the placebo tool store. It's within our own bodies to heal, to reverse chronic conditions, as I did. Losing 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50. I want to come to Esalen, film me losing the last bit, total of 200 pounds, when I get to my destination. I want to film being a 52-and-a-half-year-old woman who can utterly change her appearance. Now this right here, in our society we think, no, not good. But what this actually shows is that this is fat that my body has sculpted away from being part of my structure and it's just ready to be burned off. Now the way I started to get better was I moved off the mainland. I moved to an island northwest of Seattle, and I am certain that a 6-month sabbatical at Esalen, doing my work, participating in part of the community, filming a documentary on reverse aging, human potential, creating online webinars to start bringing revenue in. I'm asking for a reload bonus and 6-month sabbatical, the stipend, to get started, to become the next Bruce Lipton, Lissa Rankin, biology of belief, mind over medicine, placebo power to the people is directly in their lineage. And as they were biologists and doctors and throw Jill Bolt Taylor in, my stroke of insight, I'm the philosopher. I'm the one synthesizing all of these experiences with logic plus love intertwined. And that's what's going to get us from the failing civilization of today into the future where we are all living with our souls fulfilled and fruitful in every single aspect of our daily lives. It can happen in my lifetime. But I need somebody, someplace, some environment that isn't toxic, filled with petrochemical scents, full of the industrialization model that humans are widgets. Esalen, I need you, and I will make it worth your while to save my life. Harmony. This has been Deb Helfrich at Gmail. Holler, please.